say LIMS is like a nutshell. I would say like it is a decision supporting tools. It supports make your decision. So it provides you, not only goals. So that's why I call it this is a decision supporting tools. Supports to make your decision.
From a database technical architecture point of view and thinking about NIMS, there's some work going on at the moment, which I'm not directly involved with, looking at what the DoC's now got a technical architect, looking at what the potential structure should be, and generally I guess I'm still assuming that we will be migrating some of our existing data, like Bioweb data, into a new database that we will be linking from that database with other databases, and whether we create a new data warehouse that includes both NIMS data and other DoC data and other external data, and some information provided by web services. So there's all those sorts of questions, and I'm not quite sure what the current thinking is with some of that. But the general idea has always been that there's a lot of good biodiversity data out there that we need to be able to link DoC data to, not by bringing it all in-house, but by providing ways of linking amongst it.
Thank you.
Just to clarify what Lynnette said, in terms of the national overview, my understanding is they wanting to do private bird counts and pest indices, in addition to the carbon monitoring across the country. Is that correct?
Yeah, and in fact, it's not across the country. I was just thinking about that. It's only .re and nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's got possum, rabbit, pellet counts, farming bird counts, and a vegetation thing. Yeah, so it's a limited number of things that they're going through. 5-year cycle, yeah, so it roll over the whole of New Zealand.
So it's taking that sort of national locus data collections done by MFE and adding on other
and
biodiversity data information.
I don't know what the actual thinking was, whether you would do them both at the same time or whether you'd actually, but it's the same point that you'd go to.
So are you talking about remeasuring the locus plots separately? Like DoC would, MFE's came wildlands, go through and measure it on the 5-year cycle. Would DoC go with them or a separate?
I don't know what the thinking is on that. There was debate about that, whether you deal with each standing on each other's possum traps and on each other's vegetation, or what would actually happen.
Because I wonder about those plots. If you're visiting them too often, you are actually damaging them, probably. So
my understanding is that it would be coordinated.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of report from Lanky about how that would all, how it would work, and we are currently putting some sort of proposal for whether we're going to get funding for it or not.
That's a good argument for remote monitoring, of course. There's some fantastic work that some people in DoC do with remote monitoring, where they don't even have somebody going there, they just have the sensors set up.
Yeah, just to add on to that discussion about doing more data points, basically taking that existing data, like the locus data, and adding to that to give it more power. I think what Auckland Regional Council has recently done is done a similar thing, whereas they are putting in double again the amount of plots that Lucas has done, or even 3 or 4 times, and so they can get as opposed to a national picture, a regional picture about in doing bird counts, plots, and pest indices on a grid basis as well. So they, as well as being able to say, "Oh, this is what's happening nationally," they can say, "Well, this is what's happening regionally."
So they've inserted a 4 kilometre grid, is that right?
Well, they're doing every other point
so
on a
like
4
in
kilometre
between
grid.
this, because CMS is on 8 kilometres.
Yeah, but it's like a diagonal. Yeah, so it's not every 4 kilometre grid point. It's only like a doubling. But when there's no vegetation, they actually search it out within a kilometre of that centre point. So they'll find a place to put the plot if there's no vegetation. Yeah, so they get better power.
But you do lose some of your grid advantages. filling your grid, I suppose.
Well, you're still filling your grid in.
Still
Yeah.
filling.
So you've still got statistical power.
I just have two questions actually, but they're related to Lynnette.
So we're just
One is your species ecosystem prioritisation process. How public is that process going to be? Is the public going to see that process that was gone through and then having the opportunity to kind of peer review or comment?
I don't know the answer to that, but of course it's not just the public that want to see what comes out of that, it's DoC staff as well, because it's going to quite possibly change where people are working and what sort of work they're doing. So I don't know.
So it's early stages still.
Well, no, but Richard Maloney knows. I'm not involved directly.
And the other thing is that habitat ecosystem classification. Do you see that being available as a sort of GIS layer as the end product, like a LCD, but as an ecosystem?
So the disadvantage of that one at the moment is that it doesn't have a layout because it's made up from existing classifications, not from any sort of existing GIS thing it's made up from. So at this stage it hasn't got a layer.